Hello everyone, welcome you all. This is Pawan. From today, I'm going to start a new series on Linux commands and which are very important for testers and especially when you're working with real-time projects. Most of the times your databases will be installed on your remote machines and those machines are having Unix or Linux operating system. And sometimes you should also deploy your applications on Linux or Unix servers and you should able to connect to them and you have to conduct some testing on their environments. And to do that, you need to know some basic commands from Linux or Unix and for interview perspective also, which are very important. So before discussing these commands, first thing you need to have environment to execute all these commands and there are multiple ways you can execute these commands. Either you can have the dedicated environment, like you can just download Ubuntu VM and you can just run that VM by using VirtualBox. Or if you don't want to install anything, then you can have multiple terminals. Online terminals are available without installing any Unix or Linux in your local machine. You can just Google it. There are so many open terminals are there and directly you can execute those commands, okay, through browser. All right, so as a first step, here I have listed out some of the commands like file commands, directory commands, miscellaneous commands, and filter commands, file compare commands, and chmod. So I'm going to discuss these commands in multiple videos. So as part of first video, so today we are going to focus on file commands. Okay, so first we will see how we can work with the cat command, cp, mv, and rm. So let us start with file command. So for that, I have already have Ubuntu VM. So let me start my VM. So once you click on this, I already set up my VM. So I'm just logging into my VM. Okay, I'm providing my password, and now I login into my Ubuntu VM. Okay, this is basically one of the flavor of Linux, and there are multiple flavors are available. You can just go with Fedora Linux and Red Hat Linux, or this is Ubuntu flavor of Linux. Okay, and Linux is a little advanced than Unix, and this is a on top of Unix, the Linux is implemented. So these commands, whatever commands I'm going to show you, these commands are the core commands, and all flavors of Linux or all flavors of Unix, these commands you can use. All right, so now I have just opened my VM. So this is basically Ubuntu Linux. And if you want to execute these commands, if you want to work with the commands, you need to open a terminal. So if I just look at here, a small terminal is available. So when I click on this, which will open it small terminal, and you can work with all the commands here. You can execute all the commands in this terminal. And let me just increase the size of the terminal. Okay, so let me increase the font also. You can just zoom in here, and once you zoom in, your font also will be increased. Okay, so now I have zoomed in. Okay, so now this is my terminal. So whatever commands we are going to discuss, so all the commands we should execute only through this terminal. Okay, all right, so the first category of the commands are file commands. So today I'm going to discuss these commands, file commands. So under file commands, we have four types of commands: a cat command, cp, mv, and rm. Okay, now each command we can use in multiple ways. Now I'm going to show you the purpose of these commands. So as a first step, so we are going to start with file command. The first command is cat command. So what we can do with the cat command? So we can use this cat command in multiple purposes, like we can create a new file, and we can also display the content from the file, or we can concatenate multiple files. Or suppose I already have some file which contains some data. Now I can also add some more data. That means I can also append some data to the existing file. So there are multiple operations I can do by using this cat command. Okay, now I'll show you practically how we can work with this cat command. Now let's go to terminal. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new file. So that's my first action. So I'm going to create a new file. If I just look at here, when I type ls command, ls needs nothing but a listing command, list. So when I type ls command, by default it will show you what are the directories are available, what are the files are available here. Okay, so it is just like equivalent to dir command in MS-DOS. So here I'm going to show you first command. So clear is a command which will clear the screen. So the first command is a cat. What we can do with the cat command is we can create a new file. Now, how we can create a new file? So to create a new file by using a cat command, simply you can say cat greater than and specify the file name. Let me just give something called testing.txt. You can give any extension to the file. So I just create cat greater than testing.txt. So when I press enter, it is waiting for providing the data. So we have to provide some data into the file. So here I'm just providing some data. I'll say manual testing. I say automation testing. So press enter. After that, I want to exit from this prompt. So I'll say control D from the keyboard. I have to press control D. Then the command prompt is exited. So cat greater than name of the file. So which will create a new file which contains this data. Now, how we will know that? When I say ls, which will give you the name of the file. So the file is a part of this list. Now I want to display the content of this particular file. So I want to display the content of the file. So simply you can use the same command. I'll say cat and the name of the file is testing.txt. So this will display the content of the file. So far we have used cat command in two different purposes. One is we created a new file by using cat greater than name of the file. And after that, we display the content of the file. Just we say cat name of the file along with the extension, so which will display the content in the particular file. Now we can also use cat command to concatenate more than one file. So to concatenate more than one file. So for example, I'll also create one more file. Let's say cat and I'll say testing 123 dot, or you can say 123 dot txt. Okay, cat greater than testing 123 dot txt, and here I'm adding some data. Let's say I'm adding, let's say, Selenium, and also I'm adding something called cucumber, and then control D. Now I have created one more file. Now you can just list here ls. You can see two files, testing123.txt, testing.txt. Two files I have created. Now I want to see the data from the both the files. I want to see the data from the both the files. So you can use cat command, which will also concatenate more than one file. Now how we can do that? Let me just clear the screen. ls. Now I have a two files, testing123.txt, testing.txt. Now I want to see the content from the both the files. Then what you can do is you can say cat. I say simply cat, and here you can simply say name of the file. I'll say space cat space testing.txt. This is my first file, and one space, and the second file is testing123.txt. So the cat command will display the content from the both the files. Press enter. Now you can see these two lines are created as part of testing.txt, and these two lines are created as part of testing123.txt. So we can also use cat command to concatenate more than one file. If you have a multiple files, you can just give one space and provide multiple files, 3, 4, 5, or whatever files you have. So that is a concatenation. So we have seen three purposes. One is we can create a new file, then we can display the content of the file, then we have concatenated the two files. That means we have got the data from the two files, display the content from the two files. That is called concatenation. Now, finally, we can also do one more thing called appending the data to the existing file. Suppose I already have the testing.txt. Let me print the data. I'll say cat testing.txt. So currently this file contains two lines, manual testing and automation testing. Now I want to add few more testings or few more content in this particular file. That is called appending. So how we can append the data? So to append the data, we can use this command like this. I'll say cat, and to create a new file, we have just given greater than, right? Now this time we have to give two greater than. So cat greater than, then we can specify the same file. I'll say testing.txt, and in the same file I already have two lines of content. Now I'm going to add another content, manual testing, automation testing, both are there in the testing.txt. Now I'm going to add something more, like say I'll say regression testing, and I'll say sanity testing, I say smoke testing. Okay, I have added three more lines and then control D. So now it is exited. So now if I just want to print the data, I'll say cat testing.txt. Now we can see 3 more lines are added. So along with the 2 lines, 3 more lines are added. So this is basically called as a appending the content to the existing file. Okay. So we have seen cat command in 3 different purposes. Let me also write the note so that I can put in the description. So the first purpose of cat command is we have to create a new file. We can creating a new file, and then we have displayed the content of the file. Then when concatenating the more than one file, then we have append the data to the existing file. So this is a usage of cat command. All right, so now let me show you one more command. Go to the document. So the next command is a CP command. So what is CP mean? CP simply means copy. So we can copy the content from one file to another file. So copy content from the one file to another file, source to destination. This is called copy command. Now I'll show you how we can use this copy command. Let's go to the terminal and let me clear the screen. When I say ls, I have testing.txt file. So I want to copy the content from this file to some other file. I want to copy the content from this file to some other file. Okay, so now I'll say how to copy. I can say cp command. I say cp and testing.txt. So txt contains some data, right? So cp testing.txt, and I want to copy the content from this file to another file. So I'll say testing1.txt. So not 123, testing 123 is already there. Now I'm just giving some other file, or you can simply say testing underscore new file. Okay, so testing.txt space testing underscore new.txt. Now, whatever content we have in the testing.txt will be copied into testing-new.txt. Now, if I just say ls, now we can see a new file called testing underscore new.txt. Now let us display the data. I'll say cat testing underscore new.txt. So this will print the content. So previously this file was not there. Now whatever content we have in the testing.txt, I just copied the same content into a new file. Okay, this is a usage of copy command. So copy is a command which can copy the contents from one file to another file, source to destination. So what is the syntax? Cat and here the cp and source file and a target file. So the content from the source file will be copied into target file. And once it is copied, we can display the content of the file by using cat command. So this is a usage of cp command. And then we have mv command. So what is the use of mv command is we can use mv command for multiple purposes. So the first purpose is we can use this command to renaming a file. Suppose I want to rename the existing file, I want to rename it. So for that I can use mv command. Or you can also renaming the directory. Suppose there is a directory which contains multiple files. I want to rename the directory. Still you can rename the directory. And the other usage is we can also move the files from one directory to another directory. We can also move the files from one directory to another directory. So let me put the points. So we can use mv command in multiple ways. I'm just saving the file. Okay, so mv command we can use 3 different purposes. We can use mv command for renaming a file, that means changing the name of the file. We can also use mv command for renaming the directory. So directory means which contains the multiple files. And we can also move the files from one directory to another directory. So this is called moving. Moving is different than copying. Okay, so now we'll see practically how we can use this purposes like mv command. Now go back to terminal and I'm just clearing the screen. So ls, I have few files here. Okay, now the first purpose of the mv command is renaming the file. So how to rename the file? Suppose for example I already have testing.txt. Okay, so I will just say command mv testing.txt. So I want to rename the file testing.txt to, okay, I'll say automation.txt, testing.txt, and I want to rename the file with the automation.txt. So press enter. And after that, just say ls. Now we can see testing.txt file is renamed with automation.txt. So now I have renamed the existing file. Now testing.txt will not be there. So the new file, we have just renamed the file. So automation.txt is created. Now if we want to see the content again, I can say cat automation.txt, and which will display the same content. So this is a one purpose of mv command. We can use mv command for renaming the file. That means changing the name of the file. Now the next purpose is we can also use it for renaming the directory. So we can also rename the directory. So directory means which contains a multiple files, or sometimes we can also create empty directories. Okay. So how to rename a directory? So to rename a directory also we can use mv command. So for example, here I have few directories available. So let us say here blue color is representing, these are all directories. Directories are nothing but a folders. We can call it as a folders on Windows, or else we can create our own directory. So by using command mkdir, we can create our own directory. I'll say mkdir, so which will create a new directory. Mkdir make a directory. So I'll say uh, my dir. Okay, so my dir. So this is my directory which is created. Now we say ls. You can just look at here. My dir should be appear in this list somewhere. You can see this is a my own directory which is created. Now I want to rename this directory. So previously we have renamed the file. Now I'm going to rename the directory. So my dir is my own directory which is just now created. Now I want to rename the directory. So to rename it, we can still use method called mv. mv my dir to my directory to, I'll give some other your dir, your directory. Now it is renamed. Now we can just say ls. Now we can just look at this. My dir is renamed with your dir. So we can just look at here. So mv command, we can use it for renaming a file and also renaming the directory. And also we can use mv command to move the files. mv is nothing but a moving. So moving the file from one directory to another directory. Moving in the sense, in the source location, file will be deleted and the destination location file will be copied. So there is a difference between copy and moving. Copy means there is a duplicate entry will be created. Duplicate file will be created. But in case of moving, there is no duplicate file. Okay. So now mv is a command which we can also use it for moving the files from one directory to another directory. Now I'll show you how we can do this, how we can move the file from one directory to another directory. And if I just look at here, I have one file here, automation.txt, and currently in which directory we have, if I just say pwd, present working directory, which will show you the current directory. So this is my current directory. In this current location, in the home, Pawan is my directory name. And here my file is present, automation.txt. If I just say ls again, you can find automation.txt. Now I want to move this file from here to your directory. So currently automation.txt file is present in my directory. Now I want to move this file to your dir. Okay. So then how we can move that file? So we can use mv command to move the file from one directory to another directory. So for that, you can use mv command. Which file you want to move? Automation.txt, mv automation.txt. So where you want to move? To your directory. So you can specify the directory name. I say your dir. Okay, so your dir. I'll say enter. Now command is successfully executed. Now when I say ls, now we can just see automation.txt file you cannot find anywhere because that file is already moved to your dir. Now I want to see that particular file, whether it is moved to your dir or not. So what we can do is we can just say cat your dir inside the folder. What is my file name? Automation.txt. So when I enter this, and it's saying your directory automation.txt, no such file or directory is saying. So we have to give the properly command cat your dir slash / automation.txt. So now we can see the content. So in Linux or Unix environments, always we use forward slashes. Okay. So your directory is your directory name. Inside this file is available. So that I got the content. Okay, so directly I can access the content of the file by specifying the location of the file like this. Or you can also enter into the directory. Suppose currently, if I say present working directory, currently I'm in Pawan directory. So I want to go to your dir. So simply you can say cd command, you can give cd and they say your dir. Now you are entering into the your dir. So if I just look at present working directory pwd, you are there in the your directory. Now you can just ls here, then you can see the file. Okay, so this is how we can just check the file which is present in the proper directory or not. And if you again go back to your previous directory, you can say cd space dot dot cd space dot dot. So changing the directory, it will go to one level back. Now again, if you just say pwd, now currently we are in Pawan directory. So mv command we can also use to move the file or files from one directory to another directory. So that is a use of mv command. Now the last command we have is rm. So rm is a command which we can delete a file or a directory. We can delete or remove a file or directory. In both the purposes we can use rm. But the rule is we can directly delete the file by using rm. But when you're trying to delete the directory by using rm, the directory should be empty. Then only you can delete the directory. But still, if the directory is having some files, still you can forcefully delete the directory. Okay, I'll show you multiple options. So rm is a basically command which will delete or remove a file or directory. Now let me show you how we can use it. Let me clear this. I say ls. Now as a first step, I'll show you how we can remove the file or delete the file. So I have something called testing123.txt. I want to delete the file or I want to remove the file. So simply you can use rm and name of the file testing123.txt. So after execution of this command, just say ls. Now we can see testing123 is got removed from this list. Okay, testing123 is removed. So we can successfully remove the file. Now I want to remove the directory now. So we already have one directory called your dir, right, which contains a file also. Earlier we moved the file into your dir, automation.txt file, which is available inside this your dir. So if I just look at this again, I'll go to this directory cd your dir. If I just say ls, now my file is present here. Your dir inside this directory, automation.txt is exist. Now go back. Now what I'm going to do is I'll try to remove the directory which contains some file. I want to remove the directory which contains a file. So currently your dir contains a file. Now let us see what will happen. So I'll say remove name of the directory is your dir. Okay, now when I say execute this command, what it is saying, cannot remove your dir is a directory. It is clearly saying you cannot remove the directory. You cannot remove the directory because it is having some content. That means it is having some files. But still I want to remove the directory even though it is having some files. Then what I can do is you can just execute one command rm-r recursion, rm-r, and then specify the directory name. I'll say your dir. And r is a command, rm-r, then your dir. Even though the file or directory contains the files, still it will remove the directory. Now executed. Now when I say ls, now you can see your dir is removed from this list. Okay, so this is how we can also use rm. So rm is used to delete or removing the specific file, or we can also remove or delete the directory. Okay, but if I directly use rm, we cannot directly remove the delete the directory, and you have to make it empty. But still, if the directory is having the files, if you still want to delete the file or delete the directory, then you can use -r, rm-r, then your directory name. Okay, so these are all four commands which are comes under file commands. So cat command can be used to create a new file, display content of the file, copying the contents of the file, sorry, concatenating the files, right? And cp is a command. By using this, we can copy the file into another, copy the content of one file to another file. And mv is a command. So by using mv, we can rename the file, and we can move the file from one place to another place, means one directory to another directory. And we can also rename the directory names. And by using rm, we can delete or remove the files, or we can also delete or remove the directories. So this is a usage of file commands. Okay, so in the next video we will discuss directory commands. And that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.